We're back out here once again, and this is the video so many of you wanted me to do. We're talking all about this guy, the cheap boat motor I bought off of Amazon for less than $200. I've been beating it up and abusing it for 6 months, and I'm here to tell you the real story about these little motors. Stick around, you don't want to miss this one. And here is this video's featured comment. Congratulations! If you would like to have a chance to have your comment featured in an upcoming video, all you've got to do is leave a comment. And now, on with the video. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing. And for a while now, a lot of you have been asking me about this thing here. It's a 3.5 horsepower, 2-stroke motor that I bought off of Amazon for about $180. Now with these, there's always some type of extra charge. There's a shipping charge, a handling charge, or whatever that will range between $70 to $125, $130. So all told, I paid about $250 for this, which is about average. It's a Yadao, but it's the same thing as the Hankai. There's this made in the same factory. They've got the same covers. They've got the same stickers. The only thing difference is that brand name. Other than that, you know, it might as well be a Pontiac or a Chevy. It's literally the same thing. But I got this because I wanted to take some of the stress off of my trolling motor. A lot of you will remember I have a little Minn Kota Edge trolling motor, 30-pound thrust, that I have that went with this boat that I used for a long time. But I kept blowing switches out of it because of the stress I was putting under it, moving all around the big lake with this little boat. So that motor was meant to take up that slack so I could put the motor down, make the long runs that I needed to, and then use the trolling motor for the rest of the day. Things have kind of changed, and we'll get into that. But before we do, I'd like to thank everyone who has stopped by my online store. And if you haven't yet, go check it out. It's at diamondbackbaits.myshopify.com. We've got handmade jigs that are made by me personally. I make the jigs, I make the skirts, I put everything together, put it in the envelope. That's my handwriting on the envelope that you're seeing, if you can even read it. But I want to thank you guys so much. I'm going to have a link down in the pinned comment as well as one in the description. So check it out. We've got all kinds of jigs in many different colors. And you guys have really been killing it as far as the support goes, and I can't thank you enough for that. I appreciate all the DMs and all the emails and the pictures you guys are sending me of the fish that you're catching. Please continue that. But anyway, back to this motor. Now, I didn't want to do a review on it. I wanted to wait until the time was right. And I've had this motor for well over 6 months now. And you can see I have beat it up. I have not been gentle. I'm not gentle on my gear at all. I expect a lot from it, and I put it to the test. So this thing has been thrown in the back of my truck. It has been wedged in there. I have beat it up on the lake. I have done so many terrible things to it, and yet it still runs like a champ. So the long story short, is it any good? Yeah, absolutely it is. But there are some caveats. Now, if you watch videos like Lojo did a video on one of these recently, and he didn't really do it right. You can't take these motors right out of the box and just put them on whatever you want to and run with them. If you do, you are going to break them very, very quickly. You need to do several things to them before you can even get them on the water. First and foremost is that transfer case, that gearbox that connects the shaft to the prop, has no oil in it. So you are going to be shaving metal. The first thing you have to do is take that cover off of there, take the prop off, take the cover off, and put 90 weight gear oil in there. You will not find this in the owner's manual. As a matter of fact, throw the owner's manual away. You won't be able to understand it anyway. If you want to read something and either be super hilariously funny or completely, absolutely confusing, try to read it, because it is a horrible translation. It makes no sense whatsoever. Only thing will happen will be confused. So I'm going to lay it out what you need to do with these motors whenever you get one, because there are some things that you need to know that aren't in that manual that you're not finding around YouTube, and we're going to talk about them. So first thing, fill that gearbox, fill that transfer case full of 90 weight gear oil. If you don't do that, you are going to ruin your motor within an hour. It's going to just completely shred the metal and completely annihilate itself. So that's rule number one. Once you do that, well, then we can move on to step number two. Now, step number two is the spark plug that comes with this thing is Chinese junk. The whole thing is Chinese, but that spark plug is just basically bubblegum duct tape and wires. You'll get about 20-30 minutes out of it before it completely disintegrates and it won't work. Go to your hardware store and get a Champion CJ8 spark plug. That old lawnmower spark plug we had when we were kids fits that thing perfectly. It's exactly the same thing. I put that in there 6 months ago. I'm still using the same exact spark plug. So do that. Change that spark plug out. That's another thing you have to do. Like I said, I've watched other videos on it. I've watched Lojo's video on this, and his is the most prominent one. So if you guys see Lojo, tell him, hey, go check out Lowbrow's video about that little motor that you did, and he's going to tell you how to get the most out of it. Because once you get these things tuned, I'm telling you, they're amazing. They're great little motors. I love the fact that I got this thing. I do not regret the money that I spent. So that's another thing. Change that spark plug out. And if you're more mechanically inclined, like I am, I tend to be very mechanically inclined. I'm good at being a mechanic. I'm good at working with my hands. You can put this thing I put it in a great big garbage can, a 55-gallon garbage can, and I filled it full of water, and I started it, and I ran it just to set the carburetor on it, because it's got one of those little weed eater carburetors, one of the little chainsaw carburetors, the same thing, and it's not tuned. It's not tuned very well at all. As a matter of fact, it will bog down. It won't take gas because it's not tuned properly. So I tuned the carburetor and I get way better performance out of it. If you don't do that, it doesn't feel like you'll ever get any power. You feel like it's always got something left in the tank. You turn the throttle and rather than getting more RPMs, it bogs down. Tuning the carburetor will do that. It's got a little screw on there, and while you have it in the tank running, you just ease it back or you tighten it in just a little bit until you get the desired result. So that's another thing that you have to do. But there are some features of this motor, there are some things about this motor, and I want to show you how it runs on the water. I want to show you how well it moves on the water, how easily it starts. Now you can see it just goes right to the back of my little plastic boat here, my little 10-foot Pelican Bass Raider 10E that I've had for a while, that you guys have asked me all kinds of questions about. This boat's been amazing, but when I put that little motor on it, it really took it to the next level. You can see that it just clamps on right there to the back. It's got those screw clamps right there, and you just, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. It's got a little mechanism here where I can raise it and lower it. Super, super simple. Just raise it up, push that in, and boom, it puts it. I can even do it with one hand, if you don't mind getting it messy. It has a little water jet port right here. When you see the water squirting out of there, you know that you're getting water through the motor. It's a little bitty prop. It's got a little card key on it. She's been out in the water today doing great. Now, this is normally the kill switch right here, but it broke on the inside, so I just pulled the wire up through, and I just take that black wire and touch it to the top of the recoil, and she shuts off. Now, gas wise, fuel mileage, I carry a little bitty gas tank with me, just a little bitty 1 gallon, 2 gallon gas tank of mixed gas, and I fill it up once when I get here, and that's it. The only time I have to fill it up again is if I make an extra long trip, which this motor is more than capable of doing. I have gone the length of this lake several miles on numerous occasions, and it's handled it just fine. So you can see it's pretty easy to do. I can carry that motor by myself. With one hand, it might weigh 10 pounds. So it's probably about the same weight as a weed eater. It's a great little motor. I'm glad that I got it. Alright, so there are some cheaper parts to it. That's to be expected. Now, one of the detractions is there is a trim system. It's right here. It's got a little bolt and you can set the trim system. I haven't noticed any difference, and I've moved it around quite a bit. I still have to sit in the middle of the boat when I'm by myself, but at the same time it will move both me, my wife, and all our gear, and sometimes I'll have a heavy lead acid car battery as well as that other trolling motor. Although I don't use it as much now. This does me just fine. I don't even bring the trolling motor with me. You guys will notice that in a lot of the videos. The trolling motor's not there anymore because this gets me where I'm going, and then I just take a little wooden paddle and I can paddle it around. It makes things a lot easier. But how fast does this thing go on the water? How well does it move on the water? Well, it actually does pretty good. I'm not going to say it's actually 3.5 horsepower, but it's pretty close. I'm going to say it's between 2.75 and 3 horsepower. This will get my little boat moving against the wind around 5 miles an hour. Here's the video I got of me moving this boat on the water and starting it up and talking all about that. Alright, now my little boat motor has been sitting here for just a minute. I've been fishing in this one spot, and we're going to get her started. The choke here is on the side and it's marked backwards. It says off at the top. That means the choke is on. It's like it turns the motor off. But I shouldn't need it right now. I've been running this motor all day, and let's see if we can get her running in a few pulls. Yep, she usually starts pretty easily. The only time I really have to do more than a few pulls is right when I first get on the lake. But now we're going to zoom across the lake at 5 miles an hour and get back to the boat ramp so I can put her back on the truck. Gets it moving pretty good. That's it. That is the rundown on this motor. If you can afford it, this can be a great option, especially for those of you who are budget conscious, for those of you who are looking to get a little boat but can't really afford it. You know, this is a great option, right? That's what lowbrow fishing is all about. I dig in the budget bin. I look in that bargain bin and try to find the gems, the hidden gems in there, and then I show them to you. You don't have to spend $1 million to be able to go out to the lake and enjoy a good day of fishing out there. This little motor is proof of it. You know, it comes with a little toolkit. It comes with some replacement parts like that recoil, and it comes with extra spark plug, which I haven't used. It's got the wrench, it's got Allen wrenches, it's got screwdrivers, and that's a good little kit to have with you on the water. So again, if you are looking for a small motor that will push a 10-foot, 12-foot John boat pretty good, or a little 10-foot Pelican Bass Raider, give these a try. I'm telling you, if you tune them right and you take care of them and you break them in, these have got a 10-hour break-in time on them, so bear that in mind. Don't just get out on the water and crank that throttle wide open. You need to make sure that you are breaking this motor in for about 10 hours. That means rev it up, let it run for a while, and then bring it back down. Don't ever have it wide open all the time until you get that motor broke in. And once you do, These things will run like a champ, and you'll get a lot of use out of them, and you will more than certainly get your money out of it. So there you have it. The truth about these little Chinese motors. They're good, but you have to do a certain process to get them there, which is not unexpected because a lot of motors, you have to do the same thing. I don't know of any outboard motor that you put on your boat and just start screaming across the lake. They all need maintenance, and they all need a break-in period. This one's no different. But once you do that, they're very reliable, and they move me all over the lake. I can go miles with this little motor and not have any problems. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.